Hi guys, hello everyone. It's me, Tshegofatso Ramutla, your sister, and welcome to Tshego's Closet. We're going back to the closet. I am not done. I want us to talk about these things. You see, it's a new year, and last year, when I started sharing, I was like, I'm simply introducing who I am, and sharing my part of what God has told me, or the wisdom or the knowledge that I know about God. But then I did promise that as we grow and we have made a relationship, and me and all of that, then that's when I'll be like, guys, okay, so this is what it is. So we are talking esoteric content here, esoteric uh, um themes, or uh, like stories, not even stories, but mysteries of the world. Okay, and yeah, we're going to speak about a whole lot of that stuff. And today I thought, you know what, since you did a video on Kama Sutra, explain the actual truth about why the world is so obsessed with why they're so obsessed with intercourse or sex, or sharing of fluids, and being together, connecting, and all that stuff. And I want us today to talk a little bit about that. So now I share what has been revealed to me. I share what I have researched. I share what I know, and I believe that each and every person, each individual, God reveals things to you in your own way. And so today we are really going deep into the rabbit hole to find out actually, and like, what is it about sex, and why is it so endorsed and praised, and why do brotherhoods and occultic members of an occult, of a cult rather, get together, and they get to be in a sexual orgy together. What are they benefiting from it? There's so many deep things, and we don't know things because we're not curious, Ronake. We just go with the flow. We listen to what the dictators tell us about the world around us, and we are so delusional to an extent that we are just living, we floating until the day of death, and then you're like, yo, oh my gosh, I never knew that life was about this. So the life that I was living was just the a little piece of life. There's actually life after death. And we know in the Bible, like in Ezekiel 31 verse 15 to 17, it talks about the Sheol. And people don't question what the Sheol is, because the world, the Pharisees, the papacy, the rulers of darkness in high places told you that the Sheol doesn't exist. They told you that once you are dead, you are dead. And they have convinced you that, but are you sure that Jesus Christ is not a myth? And me, I wanted to know what the Sheol is, because we are living on the surface. Like, picture it. I'm one person who works with pictures. Picture it. You are on the surface. Like geography, they told us there's the top layer, and then there are certain layers underneath the earth, until you get to the malva, or that hot, what do they call it again? Ooh, I mean, guys, high school was 20 something years ago for me, so I forgot. But that hot lava that comes up as a volcano from the center of the earth, that's about it. That's what they tell you about the earth you live in. So we are on the surface, and then when you look up, it's the sky, and that God created the heavens and the earth. He separated light from darkness, and we have the sun, which is the day, and then the night is lit by the moon and stars. We have the firmament. But then, deep down under our ground, deep down there, there's a place. There's a place, the Sheol. And hell is a place where after judgment people will be tossed there, where they will never die ever again. They will be in torment for the rest of eternity. That is hell. But there's the Sheol, and there's a torment place where the people that weren't good in life, the people that rejected Jesus Christ, those people that are not holy or are not righteous, the people that walk on the narrow path, when they die, they fall into the place of torment. And we know that the rich man in the Bible who used to be mean to, why am I forgetting his name? Is it Lazarus? Where he was hungry and he wouldn't even give him anything to eat. And when he died, he said, Father Abraham, please send him, Lazarus, to give me just water, just a drop of water, because where I'm sitting at, it's torment, it's hot. And that, you see, so such things, you don't take them light. You realize that there's actually a place under the earth. Revelation says the ground will open, and things will come out of the ground that are going to torment the world for months on end. Scorpions, or we can go into it, but I'm not really there. I'm just trying to make you understand what we are going to talk about today. Guys, there are things in the world that we are ignorant about, but they are actually there. So we need to be aware of things. Ezekiel 31, I said 15 to 17. Thus says the Lord, on the day when it went down to Sheol, I caused limitations. I closed the deep over it and held back its rivers. You see, so God is talking about the Sheol. Don't ignore it. He's telling you things that you need to know. There are mysteries. There are things in the world. Don't just live your daily life simply because you are living, you are on earth, and you think your purpose to come here to eat, drink, sleep, wander the earth, looking for riches, wanting to have a car, and also working for someone, or having your own entity, building a legacy for your children, and that's it, you die. That's how the world runs. But as a child of God, think about other things that you are unable to see with your naked eye. So I want us to talk further about what we spoke about regarding Kama Sutra. And I did explain that those things that were endorsed by these fallen angels was to manipulate mankind and trick you into doing things thinking it's the right way of doing it, only to realize you are offending God. Because the devil, his main aim is to pretend, to mimic what God is, to make himself feel like it doesn't matter whether God is here or not. Yes, I know that God is above me, but I'm also a God, and I own this world and I run the show. So what I tell them, they will do it, and you guys fall for it and you do it. I'm not stubborn. You see, there's a difference between someone who is stubborn and someone who is curious. I have a very curious mind. So I do not allow anyone to dictate certain things to me if they don't make sense to me. And people would say, yeah, but regardless of what you're saying, you're contradicting yourself because you're allowing the Bible to tell you things. How do you know it's true when the Bible is manipulated and whatever? And I always say, look, for me, from being a little girl raised from church, it works for me, the Bible. Out of all the books I've read, out of everything that I've heard, out of things that I've seen, and what I've been told, and by school or by a pastor or by people in general, or even those that you meet on the street, a sangoma, without knowing, they come and say, yeah, Togoza, you are this and this and that, you need to come to my place. Out of all those things, what the Bible has told me, for me, is living. It's the truth. And whatever it is that the Bible says has come to play. And we are living in the end times, and you look at it and you're like, yeah. So I'm thinking for my soul now. I'm no longer living for my body. I am here for the physical, yes. And do I go through trials and tribulations all day, every day? Am I tempted all day, every day? Sometimes am I weak? Do I fall? I do. I'm being honest. I do. And I find myself, doing something and saying, oh gosh, Father, forgive me. I used your name in vain. Oh God, I lost my temper. Forgive me. Oh, I told a white lie. Why did I do that? Father, forgive me. I'm not pure. I'm a sinner. But I'm not also naive and thinking that this is life, Baba. You live only once. Yeah, you live once. But where are you going after this living once here? This is not it. We are here to double up and cross over to the next level. We are not here for good. We are here simply because one day our Creator said, Tsogofato, you are going down there. And when you get there, I need you to do 1, 2, 3. I will be with you. I will find you. I know you're going to lose your way. But once I find you, you do it. Do not harden your heart like the Israelites did. So, yeah, guys, I want us to talk about it. And, in Genesis 6, let's just start there. I actually have 2 Bibles today. I'm holding 2. Why 2? Simply because this is my mom's Bible. God bless her soul, may she rest. This is my mommy's Bible, and it's in, what you see, Bebele. It's in Setswana. So I always read what I'm reading in English and read it in Setswana to understand it. So I will read from the English version, but I have read it the Tswana versions just to understand what we are talking about today. So Genesis 6 verse 26, 27 and 28. Genesis 6. Is it Genesis 6? Wait, I want us to start with Genesis 1. Sorry, Genesis 1 first, verse 26. It says, let us make human beings in our image, to be like us. They will regime over the fish and the sea, the birds in the sky and livestock, all the wild animals on the earth and small animals that scurry along the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. Highlight that part, Nick. That part is extremely important. You are made in God's image. Never, ever, 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 ever forget that in your life. Because that is the most important of anything you've ever heard in your life. You are made in God's image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. In the image of God. And don't confuse it when it says male and female. God is not female. When he says I made you in my image, then those evil people will say God is half man, half woman. Don't get it twisted. He made us in his image. Who we are. Not what we are. Who we are. We are made in God's image. Right. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Again. Yeah, fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and govern it. You see why he made men and women to be fruitful and multiply. Guys, what I'm telling you today, very important. Sharp. Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and govern it. I get allowed. This is before the sin. I get before Adam and Eve sinned. He said, fill the earth. I'm highlighting and govern it. And regime over the fish, the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry along the ground. So that's Genesis 1. So God made us. He said, I want to make humans. Let us make them in our image. So you are human. You're a soul. You're a spirit. And our God is a spirit, right? And when he made Adam, what did he do? He went in his nostrils. Ne? What was that going in? When he had took his first breath, the Spirit of God is in us. He made us in his image. You see how beautiful it is? He didn't make the dog in his image, the dolphin in his image, the tree in his image, only us. For a reason, he said, what? Go, fill the earth, and be fruitful and multiply. Now remember, who was watching? The devil, the fallen, were watching all of this happen. Now we can jump to Genesis 6, right? And go Genesis 6 verse 2. It says, the sons of God saw the beautiful woman and took any they wanted as their wives. Remember, God said, be fruitful, multiply. They took them as their wives. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not put up with humans for such a long time. For the day only mortal flesh, in the future their normal lifespan will be no more than 120 years. So we jump to number 4. In those days, and for some time after, giant Nephilims lived on the earth, for whenever the sons of God had intercourse with women. I highlight here again, when the sons of God had intercourse with women, they gave birth to children who became the heroes and famous warriors of ancient times. Of course, they were going to be heroes or warriors because they were big and strong and bullies, and and we know now that the flood came and these heroes and in Genesis, the heroes and famous warriors, they died. God eliminated them, because what were they doing? They were now tormenting God's children. They were now craving human blood. They were now craving flesh and eating humans. Okay, so God had to get rid of them. But here's the thing. God made male and female, so simply because so in that making of male and female, it's a joint union, husband and wife, and they were to be fruitful and fill the earth. The devil was watching it. He knows this. So he then him and the fallen, they came, and the fallen ones took wives for themselves and wanted to experience this, so they had intercourse with the children of God. And along centuries and centuries that followed after the flood, where your Nimrods were there, they built the Tower of Babel, which was in this form of a shape. We see in Egypt they built pyramids and whatsoever. And when we tap into mysticism and Babylon and understand their way of thinking, that's when we realize that these people are obsessed with mingling of DNA. These people are obsessed with creation of their own race. You see, God created us in his image, so we are God's children. And the devil saw this, and day one when he saw Adam, he made a pact with himself, or I'm going to kill that thing. I will get rid of it. Because he was already running around in the world, and God said to the people that in Genesis 6 you heard, you will take dominion, you will regime over animals, fish. So the fish, it's the sea. Animals, that's the land. He gave us authority and said, you will take over. And what was the devil thinking? This is my territory. I'm taking over. That's why even when Jesus Christ was here, he took him and said, look what I've done. You see, my kingdoms, Baba. This is what I'm good at. Worship me. And unfortunately, because our parents, our great Adam and Eve were deceived by the devil is smarter than man. He's clever and he knows more than we do. So he was able to manipulate them, and because they fell for it, automatically they gave him power over us, and that's why he's able to manipulate and maneuver in the world freely. You get me? But we go to Egypt, let's say, where I think it all started. That's why we were removed from there as Israelites by God. There's a building or a structure. It's called the obelisk. Let me draw it for you guys. The obelisk, for those that don't know it, right? It's a structure like this. It's a structure like this. And then you go again to Washington, D.C. You find this obelisk structure. And it's sitting like this. If this is the obelisk, then there's a dome. So like the White House has a dome, and it's faced like this. But all these things, the dome is like this. I have to draw it for you. The dome, right? It's sitting like this. So it's a building. It's a building, and it's a dome like that. And the obelisk and the dome are facing each other like this. So it's believed that the obelisk, well, it is what it is. Not even a belief, it is. The obelisk is symbolic for the male organ. The dome, like we see in the synagogues or, other architectural sculptures, where you find it also in the Vatican in Rome. There's an obelisk from Egypt, and it's facing the Vatican building, and it's a dome and an obelisk. So the obelisk is a male organ, and the dome represents the womb. So you're like, oh, you guys are obsessed with sex. Why? Goes back to Genesis 6. Those angels came down. They took wives and intermingled. They produced. And right there, DNA, that was God's image. Pure, holy DNA. What does DNA stand for? It's deoxyribonucleic acid, right? And we know that deoxy when we interpret in Greek, if I'm not mistaken, could be Hebrew, but I think in Greek it means deoxy is God, ribo is rabbi, nucleic is center, and acid is burning like fire. So God, who's like a rabbi, is the center of the burning fire, the holy fire. That met Moses there on Mount Sinai. So the DNA strand is God himself, because we are made in God's image. Are you getting goosebumps like I am? Because this knowledge is deep that God is revealing to us. Hence, you see, when Jesus died on the cross, he had to come got a virgin birth through a virgin, because God said, your children will be born in sin, telling Adam and Eve, because they had sinned. And what do you find in a human today? Not Jesus Christ. He's the only one with a virgin birth. Don't tell me about Tammuz, who came from Semiramis, who says Tammuz was a seed from the sun. And that is, I spoke about it in one of my videos, through Nimrod, the birth of sun worship. Don't tell me about that, because it's a lie. Don't tell me about Bohorus and Mang from Egypt who speak about virgin birth from God. That's a lie. I'm talking about Jesus Christ, who is God in human form, came in a pure birth, virgin birth. No mixing of seed here, because he is pure of sin. That he never sinned, ever. Never sinned. So you look at you and me, and we have atoms or electrons in our body. We have neutrons and protons. We have 6 atoms. We have 6 neutrons. We have 6 protons. That's 6, 6, 6. And whose number is that? So you see, we have the sin gene in us as it is already. That's why you need to be born again and accept Jesus Christ and be washed by his blood, and also be baptized to be renewed, and this to be cleansed away, because no one who has sin will enter heaven. Heaven is holy. It's a holy place. Do you understand why you have to be born again? Do you understand why you have to accept Jesus Christ? Because you have 6 atoms in your body, 6 neutrons and 6 protons. And that's the number of the man, the number of the beast. So these fallen angels mingled with females. And even today, when there's a cult going, sex is always the forefront of everything. The devil is trying to create his own race. He never stopped. What happened back then, where half humans, half creature were created? The Henderson gene, not the pure gene of God, the Henderson gene of the Nephilim, that was passed down till today, is still there. The bloodline of the devil is still there. And what is he pushing? He wants his seed to rule over the world and take over and have his own creation. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying today, guys? Please comment there, because you need to understand that DNA, your DNA is important. I don't want this video to have AMA strikes and they remove it. There's something deep I wish I could tell you about your DNA. But if I say it now, but very close, so they're gonna remove this video. But anyway, all I can say is, nah, if I were you, I would protect my DNA. I would protect it to the core, because they're taking your DNA, mixing it with concussions of things that are stripping away that God gene in you. They are putting in the serpent seed inside you. You see, there are chimeras walking the earth today that we are unable to see or find because they are hidden. But they're gonna come out soon. You will see these things. Hence, I'm saying, prep yourselves. Believe in Christ. Get born again, guys. Fix it, because I told you when I started, there's a Sheol, and as much as there's a Sheol, there are things that come out there onto the surface to manipulate, to change for the new world. The new world order is coming, or is here already, but you are unaware because you have a veil. You have a veil like this. So I want you to unveil yourselves and say, ha! I never knew there was such. In DNA, we are created in God's image. We have 33 vertebrae. Is that what they call it? 33. Corey, I'm trying to make you understand that we are made in God.